What up, fish friends? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a small nature aquarium for some chili Rasboras. This is a Fluval Flex 9-gallon. It's a great little tank that's got a filter built into the back chamber there, and then a light on the top. You know, there's space for ceramic rings or biomedia, and then sponge and heater as well. This is a nifty little tank. It's super easy to maintain. I had already have some chili Rasboras. I was planning on putting them in a 15-gallon I had already set up, but I didn't realize quite how dainty they were. Maybe over time as they mature, I'll plop them in the other tank, but for today the goal is to set up a simple but natural aquarium. It's going to be low tech, low budget, relatively low maintenance since chili Rasboras do have a really low bioload. Chili Rasboras are really tiny and could easily get sucked up into the little gaps in the filter here. So I'm going to stick some sponge in between each little grill and then stick them into place. That'll prevent any fish or shrimp down the road from getting sucked into the filter. Next, I lay some planted aquarium soil. It's stuff that I've used in past projects, kind of a mix of some sea chem fluorite and Landon aquarium soil. I put them in some mesh bags and plop them in the back of the tank. Then I lay some rocks out. I'm using some Mexican beach pebbles. They come from my landscaping store. They're pretty cool. They're really dark stone, especially when they get wet. They're pretty smooth overall, but that texture does give them a little bit of character. Then I pour some sand in here. It's a mix of some play sand and pool filter sand. Add some twigs. They're just twigs that I found hiking. I think they're some sort of pine. I rubbed some of the bark off where I could, but most of it didn't want to come off, so I'll just leave it on. I make sure to weigh down the twigs with a rock. That way when I fill it with water, they don't float to the surface. I'm aiming for about 1 to 2 inches of sand. A little bit more in the back where I'm going to be planting stem plants. It's good to give them a little bit of space to root out before they hit that soil underneath. And now for planting, always my favorite part of setting up an aquarium is picking the plants. They're all going to be really easy plants. And when I say easy plants, I mean they don't need CO2, they don't need much fertilizer, they'll be fine with the soil underneath, and they don't need high levels of lighting. The stock light that comes with the Fluval Flex will be more than enough for these. So I'm starting off with pearlweed, Hemianthus micranthomoides. It's one of my favorite plants. I use it in a lot of tanks. It can go a little bit crazy in high-tech tanks just because of how quick it grows, but it should be perfect for this tank. And then with another one of my favorites, Pogostamen stellatus octopus. This is a super versatile plant. Again, you could put it in a high-tech tank, but this would grow like crazy. I've done it before and always end up pulling it out. So I really love using it in these low lighting tanks. It fills in with lots of wispy small leaves, which provide good habitat for small fish to swim in and out of. And also because it grows so quickly, it helps to keep the water level stable. If there's any spikes in nitrates, then this plant can absorb it pretty well. Alright, so those back chambers of the aquarium that I talked about, super handy. There's space for the heater here, and then some ceramic rings. I took them out of a filter from a couple other tanks, so they'll be packed with beneficial bacteria. I can pretty much throw my fish in right away after setting this tank up. And then there's some sponge in the middle column with some more ceramic rings, and then the pump is on the far right side. And then for the leaves, I've been really into adding leaves into my aquariums these days, especially the sand bottom tanks. I think it just looks really good, And then for a small fish like the chili Rasbora, it'll provide them with extra layers of habitat to swim through, and then hiding spots as well. So I boiled them for about 15 minutes, ripped them up, and scattered them around the bottom of the tank, around the plants. So to prevent the Rasboras from getting sloshed around, they're really tiny. I wanted to add this little water diffuser. I got it on Etsy, really cool investment. And you just plop it on the outflow. It's designed for the Fluval Flex, and it splits the water into 5 different spouts, really slows it down. Then I added some water lettuce. There's already a little bit of duckweed in here. Probably try and remove that. This will also provide some hiding spots and shade for the chili Rasboras. They should really appreciate it from what I've heard about them. It's been a couple weeks since setting this tank up. I pretty much always make 1 or 2 adjustments down the road when setting up a tank. I rarely have the foresight to get everything done just right the first time around, which is kind of how my life works too. But anyways, this pearlweed down here isn't getting much light, and it's gonna kind of rot away, I think. So I'm going to pull the floaters from the top. I'd initially had those in there because I thought these chili Rasboras would be very timid, but even though they're really dainty, they're one of the most outgoing fish I've bought in years. They're always out and about. So I'm going to pull that pearlweed, and I'm going to stick in this other stem plant that I have on the other side. I forgot what it's called. So just quickly pulling those floating plants and the pearlweed and replacing it with this Pogostamen stellatus octopus. Pretty quick process, only took a few minutes, and I think it looks really good actually. I know that this Pogostamen will grow a lot better than the pearlweed was. And there you have it, a pretty simple tank. There's only 4 plants in this aquarium. Some Christmas moss, Pogostamen stellatus octopus, Hygrophila angustifolia rubra, and for the floating plants, there's some water lettuce. I've got about 15 chili Rasboras in here. I might get some sort of a bottom feeder fish like pygmy cories or some Autosynclus. Otherwise, I got my eyes on some Caridinas, some blue bolt, or some chaos bolt shrimp. They're blue and white. They're really cool. I've been looking at them at my local fish store for a while now. They're kind of expensive, so I'll let this tank settle in for a couple more weeks and then probably give some a shot. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and the like button if you enjoyed or learned anything from today's video. Until next time, see ya!